Hello, alongside Don Helbig, I'm Ryan Sir, and welcome to the Pick Six, the podcast by the Attractions Group, where we bring you the latest top stories from the attraction and amusement industry.
Well, before we delve into this week's Pick Six, let me remind our listeners where they can tune into the Attractions Group podcast. You can catch us on your favorite podcast apps, like us on Facebook, follow us on X, and be sure to subscribe on YouTube. Ryan, what do we got up first?
Let's start with story number one. We are going to do the Disney stuff. I wanted to say go to Orlando, but we're not entirely certain of that. But Disney has filed a patent for a new two-dimensional guiding system that could change the points of view on a water flume ride. The patent's images hint at a possible Moana-inspired ride. A new patent titled Guided Boat with External Discrete Yaw Control, which will probably end up being the name of the ride, filed by inventor Christopher M. Laffin in 2020 and published in 2024, introduces a groundbreaking technology for water rides. This innovation will enable boats to change their points of view as they move through the water. Currently, U.S. Disney water rides feature a single forward-facing system, limiting guests to viewing only what lies directly ahead, such as on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Other attractions, like the Cali River Rapids, involve a water raft ride that turns randomly without controlled views. In contrast, Pirates of the Caribbean, Battle for the Sunken Treasure, and Shanghai Disneyland employs a more complex dark ride system to achieve controlled turning. This new technology promises to enhance the guest experience by offering a dynamic, controllable perspective on rides. Yeah, the Shanghai Disney Pirates was exactly what I was thinking of when I saw this originally.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty cool concept. It definitely would enhance the ride experience.
Yeah, so basically my guess is, based on the whole naming of the thing, is boat floats through the water and they can turn it sideways or backward or whatever. That's their goal. All right, moving along. Number 2.
Holiday World and Splash and Safari has extended its August operating calendar by 7 days, providing guests with over 60 additional hours to enjoy the park. The newly added dates are August 5th through the 9th and August 12th and 13th. In addition, Holiday World and Splash and Safari has recently been named America's top theme park by Home to Go Theme Park Index, which ranks parks based on their attendance and affordability. The Holidays in the Sky drone and fireworks spectacular that'll continue to run daily through August 4th. And if you have not seen that yet, I highly recommend it. The show is fantastic.
Yeah, it's 400 drones, 500 drones this year, something like that, and it's just that makes such a difference. Holiday World has been so good to us. With good gravy and the drone show and everything else, it's just such a wonderful park.
Yeah, while others are cutting back, it's great to see a small family-owned park adding hours.
Yeah, adding daily operations while others are cutting back. You're right. So moving along, Universal Orlando has announced the first scare zone for this year's Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios. The Torture Fair invites guests to a Renaissance fair where they can encounter gloriously gory medieval torture devices until they are put out of their misery. While this is the first scare zone announcement of the year, the exact location of the park has not yet been revealed. Halloween Horror Nights kicks off at Universal Orlando Resort on August 30th this year and will run select nights through November 3rd. Now, it's funny because I pulled this graphic because this is the second zone that was announced, the Swamp of the Undead. We don't know much about it, but so there's 2 scare zones, but the scare zones are always pretty much in the same place. Like you go past, like between like the Beverly Hills section, going towards the new like ET and stuff. That's always a scare zone, and then over by the Mummy is also a scare zone too. They might have them elsewhere throughout the parks, and the Main Street where like the Minions ride is sometimes a scare zone as well. But I'm already excited. I bought my what they call Russia Fear Pass, which is good for every night in August. I have booked my VIP Behind the Screens tour for 3 houses, which I'm going to be doing on this Sunday. And so I'll be there opening weekend, Labor Day weekend. And then we're going to be doing Express one night because we want to make sure we do all the houses. By the way, I'm going to Mickey's Not So Scary on Labor Day. I don't know if I told you that or not.
No, you did not. But you know what, Ryan? It's just going by too fast this summer. We're just 6 weeks away from this event kicking off on August 30th.
But it also kicks off way too early. For like August 30th is not Halloween season anywhere else but Universal Studios. I'm not complaining, but I'm saying it's so hot down there when you go the first couple weekends, it does not feel like Halloween. But to your point, though, yes, summer always goes by way
too fast.
fast.
You're right.
Way too fast. All right. What next?
While we await the opening of the upcoming Epic Universe, you and I are both super excited about that. Universal Orlando has been making significant improvements to enhance the guest experience this year. The park recently unveiled the new DreamWorks Land at Universal Studios Florida and introduced the new Universal Mega Movies Parade. DreamWorks Land is an updated area that now further incorporates some of Universal's most popular characters. It's a fantastic spot for the kids, featuring splash pads, interactive exhibits, a small coaster, and more. Now, one detail that adults will especially appreciate, and I'm thinking you here, Ryan, is the addition of shade components throughout the area.
Yeah. That park gets hot. It doesn't really lack shade, but more shade is always a good thing when it comes to these parks. But I'm a loyal Universal guy. I'm an AP and might actually upgrade to the highest tier of AP next year. We were discussing that, where you get Express for free after 4 o'clock. Of course, we got to see how the stuff shakes out for Epic Universe next year. But I digress. Okay, so next up. Despite the summer heat, the Pittsburgh Zoo
I like turtles.
has announced exciting plans for fall and winter festivities. The zoo will host a jack-o'-lantern extravaganza from Thursday, October 3rd through Sunday, November 4th. Thousands of pumpkins carved with zoo animals and familiar characters will light up the zoo, featuring various themed areas. The beloved daylight trick-or-treat event, Zoo Boo, will return for the last 2 weekends in October. Following the Jack-o'-lantern extravaganza, the Pittsburgh Zoo will present a reimagined Asian Lantern Festival called Wild Illuminations with over 1 million twinkling lights. Wild Illuminations will brighten the holiday season from November 15th through January 12th. This event will transform the zoo with winter-themed lights, lanterns, music, food, and more, offering both walk-through and drive-through options to accommodate all families. Walk-through and drive-through, that's interesting.
It is. This is a nice zoo in Pittsburgh, and I'm hoping to have a chance to visit it during one of these two events.
We'll have to have a meetup at like the Cincinnati Zoo sometime.
Yeah, we can do that.
And people that wear a I Like Turtle shirt get like, I don't know, a cookie or something. All right. Next up.
Well, a date has been set for the official groundbreaking for Ohio's first Buc-ee's. Huber Heights Mayor Jeff Gore said that the official groundbreaking has been scheduled for August 8th. Huber Heights City Commissioners voted unanimously to approve the final plans back in May. And Ryan, nobody is more excited than me to have a Buc-ee's coming to Ohio.
Full disclosure, I Googled Buc-ee's because I was in a hurry. And this was the first image that popped up, was you with Buc-ee the beaver. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, so I'm really excited about this. Again, Huber Heights is kind of far for me too, but it'd be easier to make the excuse to go up there just as like for going to Buc-ee specifically than it would be going to the Richmond, Kentucky one. Because Richmond's perfectly halfway between here and Gatlinburg. But I've been having a hankering for a melt for
I know.
weeks though, and I'm just dying. And I might have to take one weekend where the girlfriend's working and take the day to shoot down to Richmond and eat and drive an hour and a half to go to a gas station. But
I'm going to hit a couple of Buc-ee stops next week for me. So I'll hit the one in Richmond. I'll hit the one in Sevierville. I really want it to be available for the groundbreaking ceremony on August 8th, but I'm not going to be able to be there. So I will be visiting another theme park, Holiday World, on that day. But I'm going to be making regular trips up to Huber Heights. I'll be, chronicling the construction progress. I'll be bothering you with it, sending you pictures all the time, saying, have you seen this? Look at this, Ryan. And I'm just going to, count down the days until Buc-ee's in Ohio opens.
We love our Buc-ee's. All right. Enough of this Buc-ee nonsense. Let's move on to the listener questions. Question 1. Lauren H. from Huron, Ohio with no new news coming out of Cedar Point with an update from Top Thrill 2 as of mid-July, do you think that means this will not reopen this summer as Tony Clark said it would?
I don't know. Nobody
I
knows.
I don't either. I don't think it's looking good, though. So here's what's weird. They came out with the announcement. They did the right thing. And as soon as they knew it would be a while, they put out an announcement saying it's going to have an extended closure. And then they randomly put out essentially the same announcement several weeks later saying, like, yeah, we're still working on it. Now, that was right before Coaster Mania. So that might have influenced it. But I feel like they kind of felt like that was going to be when they were going to announce they're going to reopen it, but it didn't work out that way. But as we just discussed, summer's dwindling down.
Yeah, I would not have given it a timeline, by saying, we anticipate that it'll open, this summer. I wouldn't have put that out there, but nobody knows, when it's going to reopen. And I know that they're doing everything that they can, Cedar Point, Zamperla, to come up with a solve and get the ride reopened. Nobody wants that ride open more than Cedar Point.
Yeah. And honestly, and even if it's not open by the end of summer, I do not want anybody to interpret that as that Tony Clark was lying.
No, he wasn't.
If that doesn't, that's probably the best information he had at the time. He was probably relatively certain that that was going to be the case, and it just ended up not being the case. So we're all rooting for Cedar Point. I have to disclose, I know that you kind of contradicted this with a earlier listener question about how you should still go, but I'm holding off making plans to go to Cedar Point because I really want to ride Top Thrill 2. I'm going to have to wait till it opens. So it might be in the fall or heaven forbid next year. But all right, next question. Kyle C., Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Kennywood just announced a new GM. Thoughts on getting them on your show to talk Kennywood?
Yes, absolutely. Would love to have someone from Kennywood, the new GM, to come on and talk about Kennywood. That's one of my favorite parks. Just so much charm there, so much history. I'm going to be going to Kennywood in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully I'll get a chance to run into and meet the new general manager, and I'll certainly, pitch coming on the show to them.
Yeah, I mean, they just got announced. They just got placed in, so I wouldn't want to approach them right now.
But they have a lot of history with the park. I mean, they've been there for a long time, so
sure,
someone very familiar with it. But yeah, I would love to have Kennywood on the show to talk about all there is to do there. And as I mentioned, one of my favorite parks. And Ryan, I know you've been to Kennywood, but not in a long time. You need to go there too. Maybe it'll work out to where you can go there with me when I go.
To meet the new GM. Yeah, I want to start sucking up now.
No, but it's a great park, and thanks for the suggestion because it's something we'd certainly be interested in.
Absolutely, yeah. So stay tuned. Make sure you follow us on all your favorite podcast apps: Apple, Google, Spotify. Smash that subscribe button on YouTube. Hit the little bell thing because it tells you when we uploaded stuff. And thank you supporting the Attractions Group. So we'll see you next week, everybody.